David, by the way, did we mention he's not in this week because he's watching the robot movie over and over?
Yeah, we listened to you guys. You really lit us up for that one. So we told him to go home. We told him to
think
turn
about
on
what
his
he's done.
We told him to go back to the movie theater and just watch that movie over and over and over again until he agrees with you. So
that'll be the first hour of next week is him talking about what he learned from that.
Yeah, and apologizing profusely.
Yo, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
And I'm Andrew.
And David, not here this week. He is rewatching the Wild Robot movie a whole bunch of times to try to get a better understanding. Mm-hmm. Clearly, the first watch wasn't enough for him. So he's out watching that a whole bunch more times. So I think we're actually going to have some special guests, a.k.a. familiar guests, filling in David's seat, starting with Adam.
Adam first.
Then we have an applause sound. We could just
wait.
Acoustic applause.
Wait. No, I wasn't ready. I have this.
Welcome.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome back.
Welcome to be here. Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
Hey.
There we go.
We're ready.
So, in this first episode, we're going to take a look at the Huawei Mate X here in hand. We have one now.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. I've just taken it out the box, so these are like real, true first impressions. We also are going to make some predictions about Tesla's Robotaxi event, despite the fact that we're recording it before the event, but you're going to be listening to it after the event, so you can see exactly how smart or dumb we sound in real time. But also there's some other stuff. We got to experience Meta's Orion glasses finally, and Ellis is going to step in because he also got to experience that with us. So
I heard there was a crazy game of ping pong involved.
Not so much ping, but yes, pong.
There was.
That'll make more sense later.
It's also fresh on our minds because we essentially just landed and got back to the studio.
Yeah,
so
might have been a dream, fever dream. Not sure yet. We'll see. But first, the headline I have in front of me is Epic beats Google and third-party app stores are now allowed. Is this real life?
Yes, I guess. Who knows with laws and judges and stuff, but I'm going to do a very quick breakdown of this because a lot happened, but we've previously covered like a bunch of like Epic versus Apple, Epic versus Google, right? It's been going on for a super long time, but there's this pretty big decision made recently where there's a ruling that in the Epic versus Google case that Google App Store is now considered a legal monopoly.
Yeah.
And because of that, there's a lot of changes that they will have to make. So for the next 3 years, not only does Google have to allow the Play Store needs to allow third-party app stores, but they also need to give those third-party app stores full access to the catalog of Google Play apps, which is a step I wasn't expecting, which is kind of wild. So like if you decide you want to use the Epic App Store, that app store has to have full access to Google Play apps, whether those there is an option for developers to opt out.
Like Gmail?
Like anything you can get on the App Store. I think it needs access into its catalog to be able to download those things from that. Also, a couple other things. First of all, this is US only, and this is not on the Apple App Store. This is only on Google phones. Play Store, yeah. So here's another couple things that need to change, and this is starting in November and going on for 3 years. They can't require apps to use Google Play billing. So right now, pretty much if you want to purchase anything in an app, you have to use the Google Play billing.
Yep.
That is not a requirement anymore. Developers are allowed to have alternate ways to pay from within the Play Store. Developers are allowed to link alternate ways to download apps outside of the Play Store. They're not allowed to offer Google is not allowed to offer money or perks to launch apps exclusively inside of the Play Store or even Play Store first. Google's not allowed to offer money or perks to not launch in third-party app stores. So they can't pay people to say, please don't go to that app store.
You can't even offer.
And they're not allowed to offer Google or phone manufacturers or carriers money to have the Play Store pre-installed on phones. There's a couple other things. Those were kind of the big ones that I saw. But like,
feels like they thought of everything.
Even with all of that said, I think Epic still wanted a little more. They wanted 6 years instead of 3 years. And there's a couple other small things, but I guess the real TLDR of this is that Epic proved that Google's created so many different deals between developers, carriers, and device makers that the judge deemed it impossible for any other rival app stores to compete against them. Which
Impossible. It made it very, very difficult and worth this lawsuit happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
Google's obviously appealing. But which is why I said, like, is this real? I have no idea with the court system. But it seems like not just a huge win for Epic, but I guess a huge loss for Google.
Yeah. Google actually, they released a blog statement on, I think, the keyword, which is like their internal blog or whatever. Can I read my favorite line from that?
Sure.
Because they're so salty and it's hilarious. The decision rests on a flawed finding that Android is a market in itself. In contrast, the Apple decision upheld on appeal rightly found that Android and iOS compete in the same market. This is obvious to anyone who has bought a smartphone. Walk into a store that sells smartphones and you'll see the options side by side.
That's a true statement.
I like how they're basically like,
They're mad.
no, y'all, everything you said is right within Android, but don't forget Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like, and maybe this is just me reading it over pretty quickly, that like a lot of the reasons this was found in the Google lawsuit and not the Apple lawsuit is because of all the kind of shady stuff they did of like offering money to be Play Store exclusive and like devices to have Play Stores pre-installed. Like they just have so much money, anyone else can't really compete with them, including Amazon has an app store and haven't been able to compete. So
Well, I think Amazon hasn't been able to compete for different reasons.
wait, what are the
Like their app store is
garbage?
garbage.
Well, that's why this thing in here about needing to require the catalog is
Yeah,
huge.
that's
Bro, what are you talking? The Amazon App Store is fire.
Damn, that's good.
Thanks,
If I was
guys.
over there, I would do like
Stick over there. The last thing I just want to say, unless you guys have any other questions, is if you want like an actual really in-depth article about this, Sean Hollister from The Verge wrote a great piece that not only explains it way better than we are here, but has links because he's been covering this for so long. He was in the courtroom, I believe, for the majority of this trial. He has a ton of really, really in-depth information about all of this, so highly suggest looking at that.
You guys did miss one really important detail about all this, which is when the judge like delivered the verdict, all of the Epic lawyers stood up and did Fortnite dances. And when the judge struck his gavel, he said, "Victory Royale!" Smack.
We need an AI to create
It's too
that.
bad there's no footage of this. Just drawings. Just like cartoons.
Courtroom drawings of Tim Sweeney flossing on the.
Yeah. Naturally.
I would love that. I can't believe this all started with, remember like that video that they launched like 2 years ago? That we
The
spoke
Apple
about?
one,
The
yeah.
Apple one? Yeah, that's crazy.
It did say in here that like this kind of all stemmed from the very purposeful play of telling people to buy skins outside of it, knowing that both of these companies would be upset with that,
Check.
and seeing.
Yep.
They were playing two chessboards and they checkmated one and got mated on the other.
Got mated on the other.
Sorry, I got very distracted because
Uh-oh.
did you know? Okay, so this quote that you put in the doc was in italics. And did you know that if you put an emoji in italics, it
Oh, wait, what?
No.
you see this?
Yeah, it's like a slanted.
I didn't know you could do italics emojis. Sorry, I
bold
was
it?
very distracted. Can you bold? Nothing happens.
Oh, whoops, I pasted.
Oh. Command B.
Oh, wait. No, it got a little bigger.
It got,
See it?
Did you mention that we all slept on an airplane last night?
I am
Slept is a bold word.
yeah. All over the place. Also, wait, I was gonna say something else. I forgot. My brain is all
Dude, this is
over
awesome.
the place. What was I about to say? Okay, we were talking about the phone, and we were talking about
Tim
the
Sweeney
Oh,
flossing.
did you guys see that YouTube Shorts are going to be 3 minutes long?
Oh, yo.
In like
yeah.
a couple of
I
days,
can't
YouTube's
wait.
going to finally have up to 3 minute long shorts. That doesn't mean anything that's previously 3 minutes or less will be a short. That means anything from that point on uploaded in vertical that's under 3 minutes can be triggered into the shorts feed if you want to. Big news for some people.
Wait, when you say if you want to, does that mean that if I have something that's 2 minutes, I'm going to have to check a box that says make this a short specifically, or will it auto detect it like it does now?
It will auto detect it like it does now, but if you don't want it to be a short, you don't have to.
Oh,
because obviously monetization for shorts is still dog water.
Yeah.
So if you have a 3 minute video, you might decide you want to just have it as a regular 3 minute video. But if it is a vertical 2 minute, 45-second video, it will automatically trigger as a short. which could
so
be great
excited
for
for this.
discovery. It's great for us. It makes me think of now all creators that I watch that do shorts, how that affects them. Like, Forrest, who does the car videos, he'll just absolutely nail all the features of a car in rapid speed.
Yeah.
And now he has 3 minutes to play with. Does the style change?
I'm
Does he
thinking
keep doing
more
it?
in?
Cleo Abrams too. She has like a really great
Crazy
short.
visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the visuals are now 3 times as long.
I feel like
That can work.
I think it'll still favor like TikTok has 10 minutes now, but I feel like
That's true.
the stuff you get served more is shorter.
It's still good.
So I do think it's going to be super beneficial for people like us who are, we're cutting out a couple lines. Internet Shaquille made a great point about it once where he was like, I wish it was 90 seconds because when I'm cutting down to 60, generally the line I have to take out like is a context line. And it's like the one line I have to sacrifice is now 60% of the comments. Like, why didn't you say this part?
Can't confirm.
Or like, I don't understand this because of that. So I do think it's going to favor the people who are still around that 90-second mark, but at least we'll be able to get in that like one extra thing we were dying to say and we're really hurting to cut out. So
We're working on a short for autofocus that's like 3 minutes long. I regularly hit 59 seconds and change with our main channel shorts, and I am constantly cutting like the air, like as I breathe between words, like I'm cutting that out to hit 60 seconds. So this will be awesome. I don't think I'm going to make, I say this now, but I don't think I'm going to make 3-minute shorts. I think I'm going to make 90-second to 2-minute shorts just because we have the time now,
I'm
but in
gonna
the
clip
same
this
style.
and make it a short.
It's going to be long. It's going to be 3 full minutes now.
what are we calling them? Long shorts?
Jean
Mids.
shorts.
Shorts, mids?
I'm calling them capris. I don't know about you.
I like it.
This feels right.
All right, all of you are way more creative than I
This
am.
feels right.
Let's get to what?
Bring out the crumple
Speaking of-
phone.
This is the Huawei Mate XT, and you might remember it by name as that weird triple folding phone that the CEO was walking around with not too long ago. There's a little story behind this phone. I mean, you've seen you've seen folding screen phones before. Folding, flipping, all sorts of companies are making them now. We just reviewed the Pixel Fold. This one, it folds twice. That's the whole story. It's a Huawei phone though, so it's China only. So we had to really work to get our hands on it. Shout out to D-Brand. Anytime I ask them if they can get their hands on something, they always pull it off, and I never ask questions.
Is that the reason you were on a plane? You were coming back?
Yeah, that's what
No,
really.
but it was basically just like we bought it, we sent them the money for it, and they just found one and got it to us. So this is it.
Can I pose a question out there for our audience to help us out? Why is it called trifold? Like, this is not just a thing for this phone. It's like trifolds are a type of pamphlet, but they have 2 folds and 3 sections. So does it just mean tri as an amount of sections and that they fold?
I always assumed it was in reference to wallets. Like a trifold wallet has 2 folds and 3 sections. A bifold has 1 crease and 2 sections.
Wow.
Am I just like thinking too literally about this? Like saying the tri-bi is representing the fold, or are they like
No, if you were thinking literally, it would have to be that because you're trying to fold the phone.
Excellent point.
Thank you.
No, I think your Latin is correct, which is
Latin?
bifold. Bifold means 2 folds. Trifold means 3 folds. Like the prefix suggests there's 3 folds. There isn't. It's just.
But
2
Huawei's naming it correctly. This is how like every pamphlet is
Yeah,
called.
everyone's calling it
I
the
think.
trifold.
Okay. Someone help us out in the
Here's how
comments,
it works, because we tried to describe this on video last time and it went haywire, right? So it looks like an S
When
it's folded. Actually, a Z. It looks like a Z. So from the front, you can use it as a single screen phone. Matter of fact, I'll light it up. Bang. There it is. Single screen phone. Regular aspect ratio. I think it's a feels like about a 6.8 inch screen. Like it's a full size screen. But let's say you want twice as much screen. You actually then open to that. So you no longer use the front screen.
I already
Use
missed
the
this.
Can
Can you do that again?
Yes. Okay.
Oh,
This is like
okay.
a magic trick, right? This
Yes.
is the first screen.
Is this
you
your car?
totally bypass the first screen into your second 2 screens.
Nice.
Okay, yes. The top part of the fold you're folding out is a fold. So you're going onto the farthest back screen now is open.
Yes. So you've seen all 3 screens now. You've seen the first screen and you've seen the second 2 screens. But if you want all 3 screens, then you have to unfold. This is the harder one.
First screen.
From the back.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Yeah, this is
That looks hard, but I appreciate how
The third screen.
Damn, that looks so
Yo.
good.
Wait, that
So-
looks pretty good.
That's so sick.
Number one impression I had was it's a little bit smaller than I originally pictured. Like I think it's like a 10-inch diagonal.
Yeah.
And I was picturing iPad, but there's like no bezels, so it kind of feels smaller than an iPad.
It's more like iPad mini-ish.
It's closer to an iPad mini, but I bet if we put it next to an iPad mini, it dwarfs an iPad
Yeah.
mini. Here we go, vertical, in case you were wondering. That's
Oh my god! Wait, why does that look so much better?
massive. That's a lot of icons. That's a lot of space.
Okay, now that's like an
Right.
older iPad mini.
This is a big tablet. So you have this in your pocket and you can do all kinds of things. You can multitask across them. My second impression was that the creases are not bad.
No, not at all.
No.
And like they have a black
I
wallpaper
can't,
and
yeah, they're hiding them well, but I can't see them from this angle.
yeah.
I think my first impression from you holding it is my number one worry of this was now with two folds when it's straight. How straight is it going to feel and how solid? That looks like
Totally flat.
pretty flat. Yeah.
Totally flat.
I'm really impressed by that.
Oh yeah.
table.
So my third and final impression is I don't remember which one it was, but maybe a year or two ago there was a wedge-shaped foldable and that had most of the weight in your right hand. This kind of feels like that again. This huge camera bump is like most of the weight and the rest of the phone is very thin. But yes,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
it's a rocker when it's on the table. But I'll let you play with and unfold
I'm going to give you
the
the
Mate XT.
oh
the
man.
honors first.
Wait, I want to hold it up next to
Honor's a different phone.
holding it up next to my
Sorry, I'm tired.
Fold 6. This definitely feels chunkier and it's way more square. But then again, the Fold 6 is like very narrow.
The Fold, so the Samsung Z Fold 6 is notably like skinnier and thicker.
Is that thinner than the fold? Oh, now with the camera bump.
Yeah, let me take off the my little MagSafe thing. Putting them next to each other.
No, okay, never mind.
It's close, but
Oh,
the
it's
triple's
really
a little
close.
thicker.
Yeah, the triple's a little
Yeah.
thicker, but it's very close. Interesting. Okay. Anyway. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about this on the right side being rounded out.
Yeah,
but
that's
I guess that's the only way that they can make that work, obviously. Ooh, this is so nice. Oh my god.
Wait, can you compare it single fold open
Single fold
next to
open.
yours?
To the Fold 6.
Yeah, so the dual screen mode, or 2/3 mode, I guess I would call it, is like the same size as a Z Fold.
It's just a little taller.
Slightly taller. Wait, let me hold it up to the camera. If you're listening in audio, you're not missing much. It's pretty much the same size.
It's very similar to a Fold 6.
yeah. Don't even go to the video for this part. Maybe later.
But then you open the
Then you
third one.
go to the video for this part. Then you open it up and oof. Oh, you can feel the hinge though. If you when
Yeah.
you're opening it,
as you pull it open.
yeah, as you pull it up. So I guess
I bet you're not supposed to anchor your
definitely
hand
don't.
there. I bet you're supposed to sort of pry into the corner and pull it out open by the outside edge.
this is sick.
Does it have like a YouTube kickstand mode like the other ones?
Just put a MagSafe
So
sticker
in the
on it.
software?
No. Like, you know how with other folding phones you can sort of
Oh,
semi-fold it and then eat your lunch alone and watch some YouTube videos?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Can confirm you can take pictures like you do with an iPad with this giant phone, and it's awesome.
Is there a selfie camera anywhere inside one of those three screens? Or is it just the
Yes,
outside?
and it highlights it.
Oh,
Switch
yeah,
to
it does.
There's a little animation that shows.
Okay, so it's on the primary screen.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, I'm gonna close it now and give this to Andrew.
The funny thing about this is I made Brandon set up a set so we could unbox this on camera because I'm assuming we're doing a video on this and I wanted to talk about it on the pod.
Yep.
And I was like, oh yeah, it's red.
The phone?
Yeah, you can make a red background. So if the top-down set for unboxing doesn't match, that's my fault. Just saying.
No, the box was red.
The box was red, so I
Phone.
assumed it was red. But
Yeah, I think there was a red version, but yeah.
I think there's a red it has the faux leather back.
It's like a hexagon
Oh
camera
my-
bump.
The camera bump is gigantic. This is a heavy phone. It is a top heavy phone as I almost drop it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Is the
though.
camera of an octagon?
it is.
Yeah.
8
Guys,
signs? Yeah.
it's an octagon.
We
yeah.
shouldn't have to think about
Let me
this.
look at this.
It doesn't have sharp edges.
This remind-
That's why it's very rounded off, so it's a little weird.
It is an
When
octagon.
one ends.
Yeah, it's an because a square circle is a squircle. What is a circled octagon?
A squoctagon.
A squoctagon.
No,
There
wait.
it
No,
is.
that's a square octagon.
An octurcle.
An octurcle.
That's it. That's what it is.
You said you
That's
weren't
going in the review. That's yeah, this is thick.
A couple.
I don't mind the rounded edge right here.
I'll give you a couple other interesting specs about it. Obviously, the video is in the works, so you guys should, watch that for all of the details on this thing. 5,600 milliamp hour battery total, which for a folding phone is relatively high, but for a 10-inch screen is relatively low. For context, like the Samsung super thin 10-inch tablet has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery. So that's an interesting spec. It charges crazy fast. It came with an 88-watt car charger in the box.
Dang. Oh,
So
jeez.
that's pretty cool to see that it fast charges.
That's awesome.
16 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. No water or dust resistance at all.
I can't
Wait,
be
time out.
surprised by
It
that.
comes with a terabyte of storage, like base?
I don't think that's base.
Okay.
I will double check. But
A
this
terabyte of
spec-
storage is in fact based.
It is. It is based. But is
is
it the
based.
base spec? I don't think it is.
Because you're paying how much is this?
Okay,
Well,
so
yeah.
that's another interesting spec. Roughly $3,500 US is
thought
the
it was-
equivalent, but we ended up spending way more to acquire and import this. But that's roughly how much it goes for if you convert.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's expensive. It's more than a dual screen, dual fold. I keep saying dual fold as if that's what
I
we
feel
call them.
so like
Oh, this is a
isn't
terabyte
adequate.
version.
I love the dual fold. Like I love the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, but this is just a totally different phone.
It's crazy.
And then each of the bills is so thin.
Yo, can I say some of the animations on here are fantastic?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we went hard with
They're
that.
killing
Look at the like opening it from the normal fold and everything slides out from the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you go all the way open, the dots for like what page you're on slide by
over.
2
That's
because it's opening 2 pages at this time.
Smart.
And then the like back that pops out wherever you're doing it in this like fun little blob.
the back gesture.
The back gesture from the side of the screen is Huawei. Great job.
It's a 2232 by 3184 full resolution.
Beautiful.
So it's like a 3K by 2K. That's another
That's
thing
the
you can do.
thumbnail right there.
That's another thing you can do is you can have it partially open, not
And
quite a
just stand up by
kickstand.
itself.
And yeah, it's a 6.4 inch screen if you just use it like a single screen phone. So
Can I peel the screen protector off?
I would not do that actually.
Triggered.
I've had some experiences with that. Yeah, I would not do that quite yet. But yeah, it's a weird one.
How are you gonna use this?
Well, first I'm going to try to use it like a regular phone. Then I'm going to see what the software features will allow it to do that even a dual screen phone can't do, or a dual fold. I keep calling it a dual screen. What a normal fold cannot do.
But you can't put this on AT&T or Verizon or
Oh,
something.
well, as far as dailying it,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, this is a Huawei phone with no Google Play services or probably even the correct bands
Yeah.
to drop my SIM card in here. Like I have an AT&T SIM, but I typically don't put them in Huawei phones. So I will be using this kind of like a tablet, basically.
crazy.
But
But you can. Like
I
that
could
is
make a
tab.
phone call like this, though. Hello?
Just the straight,
Just
full
holding up the
open.
tablet to your ear.
New phone? Who it is?
On it, that's what celebrities use for paparazzi. They answer. They just talk on the phone with a completely open trifold, and it just covers up their entire face from the photographers.
When they reboot the Pink Panther again, they're gonna have him like covering his face with it instead of the newspaper.
You thought the Pro Max was big.
I know.
This is
crazy.
intimidating to get a photo taken of you with.
I just
It's like an iPad. Like I feel like I'm looking at an iPad,
Yeah.
like an older iPad, but it says Huawei Ultimate Design on the back instead.
This is just so much
Oh,
software.
dude, wait, can I see it standing in like vertical? For some reason, that looks cooler. To me.
Yeah, it definitely looks cooler in vertical.
This feels more tablet-y.
This is the dream, right? Am I the only one that feels like this is the dream?
Ellis has
Bro,
this-
do you know who you're talking to right now?
this is one step closer.
We're so.
This is
close.
50% closer than we've ever been.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
The next version, I almost just bent it the wrong
You
way
almost just
and
made it a
potentially
crumple phone.
yeah.
You do have to think about which way you're folding it.
All right, so what they need to do next is
Give it
fold
next.
open, fold open, and then this folds up,
Oh my God.
and then you've got double screen real estate.
The commitment is real. I mean, this is essentially a square when it's two.
Yeah.
So
The Fold 6, the Z Fold 6. It's
Fold
basically
6,
a square.
This obviously, is kind of the first generation, which is crazy to think that this is like the first gen of this. I know, didn't TCL make like a trifold, and there have been a couple
prototypes.
This like ultimately getting to the point of being able to hold it like this is what I would want in a folding phone. It's probably
Like vertical instead of horizontal, you mean?
yeah, like vertical instead of portrait or instead of landscape. And Oh man, all the TikTok I could watch on this. But a few years when this is cheaper, and if anyone decides to go it, that's what I think I would jump into a folding phone for.
Give it
Straight,
a decade.
skipping over all the regular folds, straight to the dual.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stay tuned for the full video. Obviously, these are like super early first looks, but I want to play with this a lot more and get you guys super high-res detailed looks at this thing. We should take a quick break. We got a lot more to talk about, including some smart glasses. But before we do that,
Oh, you have the smart glass?
oh no, these are.
Oh,
I just picked up the Ray-Ban Metas that I have because I think they look cool.
nice.
But we should also we should do trivia.
Trivia, dude.
I'm gonna have Ellis ask the glasses directly. Go ahead.
Before we get into trivia,
Okay.
I was trying to see if an octurcle is a real thing. And Marquez, I think I found something that is going to ruin your life, which is called Octurtle.
Okay.
An Octurtle is
I played that.
oh,
Yeah.
It's a game.
It did ruin my life briefly.
it is 8 games of Wordle that you play simultaneously.
yes. I
You all
remember
know about this?
Yeah.
I've
Oh
heard
my
of it.
First there was Wordle, then there was Dordle, then there was Quordle,
Remember the song one? There was like music.
there was Hurdle,
Oh,
Hurdle.
Yes.
which was fun.
There was like a bunch of clones after Wordle for like the next 2 months.
Right, right.
Doing a bunch of different things.
It's no one remembers Mastermind.
That's because it's not named in a way that's easy to remember.
But that's the game that Wordle is a clone of.
Oh, we don't know what is that then?
It's Wordle.
Should I Google?
Wasn't that like a British thing though, Mastermind?
It's a
Oh,
board
I
game. It's
remember
like
this.
yeah. Anyway, without further ado, Marquez, I'm going to let you keep the glasses on, but I'm watching you.
Okay.
These
But
clear
also,
Meta bands look
Marquez,
so sick though.
this question is for you specifically.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get a point.
I hope maybe Marquez and everyone else, except Adam.
Except me, because I know the answer.
Andrew, what animal has a faster recorded top speed? Wow. The leopard tortoise? Wow. Or the slow loris?
I thought that would be a very different set of answers. Okay, I'll think about that one. The leopard tortoise or the slow loris?
I like how they rhyme. Good job.
Thank you.
One of them has a fast name, one of them has a slow name.
Well,
Leopard. I didn't think about
leopard,
that.
yeah.
Interesting. All right, I'll ponder that. Answers at the end, like usual. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We are back from California. Literally just got back from an overnight flight. That's why we look so fresh and so clean. From
Nice.
Meta, where we actually got a late look, but also an early look at the Orion glasses. I'm saying a late look because other people have already seen it, and I was in Australia when they asked if I wanted to see it, but then I kept expressing interest, and they were like, do you still want to see it? And I was like, yeah, and so now I'm going to see it. These are products that are never coming out, but that initially had intentions of coming out, which is a set of full augmented reality smart glasses from Meta. And they aren't quite like anything we've ever seen. Just to sort of lay the background of what this actually is, I am currently wearing the existing Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. There is no display to these glasses. There's just a camera, speakers, batteries, headphones. I can talk to it, and AI will talk back to me in my ear. Great. But if I want to see anything, I can't. If I want to, look at my answer instead of have it read back to me, I can't. Then if you remember Google Glass from 8 to 10,000 years ago,
Never heard of it.
Google Glass, ahead of its time, as I always say, actually had a display up in the corner of your field of view. So there was a little projector and a little prism, and it would project text and graphics and actual answers to Googled queries in the corner of your field of view. So it wouldn't be overlaid over your real world, but anytime you look up into that corner of your vision, you could see what it's displaying. Not quite AR, but a step in the right direction. And then you have something like, a Quest or a Vision Pro, which is a full-on virtual reality headset. This completely covers your vision and puts displays in front of your eyes and will either show you a new world or show you with pass-through your existing world through cameras.
I think. Hi, I'm here on the.
Yeah, Ellis is in the hot seat.
I think. There Thank
Is that only playing out of his computer?
It is.
you. I forgot to set the.
We still heard it.
We're tired.
Oh god. Okay. I noticed all the Meta executives only referred to the Quests as MR. They really did not want to call it VR, which is different than AR.
And Apple calls the Vision Pro spatial computing, and I've given up trying to use all their fancy names. They're virtual reality headsets. They just are. Anyway, the point is, we haven't seen an AR glasses thing actually working up until now. But what this is essentially special lenses that can overlay anywhere in your field of view. It's a 70-degree field of view. Almost anywhere in front of your actual field of view and tracked onto the actual real world in front of you. So if you think of my best analogy is like headphones that are noise canceling that have like a transparency mode. So you have regular music playing and then you have the noise canceling and you just hear the music and then you turn transparency mode on and it feeds in the real world through microphones. That's a VR headset. This is open back headphones. This is your actual real world with graphics overlaid on top of it. And there's a lot of computing and a lot of physics and a lot of material science and chemistry that goes into making this happen. And that is all going to be broken down in a video that we are working on. It is fascinating stuff. But at the end of the day, we all got to try it and see what today's version of that tech looks like. And maybe we should go over each of our thoughts and impressions from those couple hours we spent.
Do it.
I guess I'll start with like, what did they actually look like? Because we've seen like prototypes and we've seen, Magic Leap and we've seen other things that look very much like a prototype.
Yeah, in video, they look pretty massive.
Yeah.
I think you bringing the Meta Ray-Bans in is a really good just like starting point or reference of these things from anything we've seen of attempted AR glasses like a HoloLens or a Magic Leap are miles ahead of that.
They look even more like glasses than Nreal glasses.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I do think one thing they kept saying is like, these are glasses. You can tell these are glasses. And I do think that's true. They are thick. They are not even really like when you look at the Ray-Ban glasses, which are actually thicker than regular Ray-Bans, at least in the stems that you hear. I don't know what you call the side parts.
We Googled this when this came out and I forgot the name.
Okay.
Arms?
The arms.
Is it arms?
Arms?
I forget.
But they're significantly bigger. I was kind of relating them to, if anyone's watched Schitt's Creek, like something David Rose would wear maybe. Like maybe thicker, and there's definitely types of glasses where people use thicker frames. I don't think these would pass off as regular glasses to anyone yet.
Not quite. They're close there.
If you were a sufficiently eccentric individual,
fair, then
I could see someone being like, oh, you chose crazy glasses. But yeah, I agree with this part.
And I think what's going to be hard about talking about these is I can't quite figure out what I think about them, because in like one hand, what they've done to achieve that is like wild. Like they've put inside of that small form factor is so crazy, but they still are definitely quite a bit away from being it's just replacing a pair of glasses to feeling like a regular pair of glasses. So I feel like I'm going to go back and forth this whole time of being like, this was one of the wildest things I've ever seen, to like, it's not really that close yet.
Yeah, I think, but yeah, both can be true. I think we lived through the boom of smartphones. We went from not having real smartphones to having the first gen smartphones, which were kind of rough but kind of revolutionary in the input, and then having the smartphones we have today, which are amazing. And you can kind of look at this as like the beginning of smartphones again for this form factor. The resolution was not great. It was kind of pixelated. There were, flares and different like lights that kind of sort of bled through the waveguides. Like it wasn't perfectly transparent all the time. It was a little bit tinted. There were things that didn't track perfectly. There were things in input that weren't extremely responsive. But the fact that I was looking through clear glass at actual overlaid graphics on top of the world in front of me.
Not glass.
Sorry. Silicon carbide. That was amazing. And that felt like the revolutionary part in the same way that maybe multi-touch on a glass screen was revolutionary for smartphones.
Before we go too far into this, can we say that and they've said this, but it was a product that they were pretty close on letting consumers have, and then decided to keep it as an internal development prototype.
I think the phrasing would be they initially intended this to be,
okay.
but not close.
They mentioned that they wanted to iterate it 1 or 2 more times.
Yes.
Which is so cool of you guys.
I honestly think it was like it's the right decision.
Yeah.
No, it was a great decision.
We've had such a year of companies releasing things that are not ready, or worse, saying they're going to release something that's not ready and then taking 7 years and still not releasing it. So for them to be like, show and tell, see you soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's interesting because some companies you would probably not want that from. Like I've heard a lot of chatter and seen some posts about how like Apple would never do this. Apple would never show us something on stage, like a presentation, and then be like, but we're not selling this to anyone. No one can ever have it. It would be a weird thing for them to do. They love to finish something before they sell it. But for Meta, the benefit for them, well, that's a rare miss. But I think for Meta, their benefit is they get to show that they are a leader in this space. And maybe for some companies watching, they're like, oh, look how far they've gotten. We haven't thought of that. There's some interesting things here. So it is cool that they are actually presenting something that they've been working on.
Yeah. I think people, like, there are people who would want to try new revolutionary things that would pay for that and probably pay a wild amount, but I don't think enough people that would make it worth it. And I think keeping it as this internal testing device so they can make it the iterations better, because we got to see some photos of like the old iterations that looked like your Master Chief in a
Halloween
Halo
costume.
Yeah. Or like one of the like Saw torture devices like on their heads. And the fact that how quickly they've gotten to this mistakably glasses form factor is really impressive.
And solved
in air quotes
a lot of the other kind of things that hold a lot of these products back, like the fact that the puck is wireless.
I should mention there's some things that come with the glasses experience.
Yeah.
So there are the glasses that you're wearing that have a ton of compute in them, sensors, cameras, speakers, etc. But there is also 2 other things. One is there is a separate computer about the size of a smartphone that is wirelessly connected to it via Wi-Fi 6, I believe.
It would fit snugly in a glasses case without much air.
And that is doing a lot of the app logic. That is a separate computer that's wirelessly connected, must be within about 10 to 15 feet of it at all times. And there is also a separate input device. It can do hand tracking and eye tracking, but there's also a bracelet that uses a technology called electromyography. And to, I guess, oversimplify what it's doing is you put this bracelet on and it's essentially reading the electrical signals as they fire through the nerves in your wrist so that when you make different gestures and scroll and do things with your arms and hands, it translates that as input into the glasses UI.
It's crazy.
It was the most impressive thing we saw.
It was pretty cool.
I couldn't, because you got to try a prototype of it a very long time ago.
Years ago.
And even them you hear it reading electric connection between your muscles or whatever. And no matter what company that is, you're like, all right.
Okay.
I don't think I used it for 10, 15 minutes maybe. I can't think of a single time it didn't correctly trigger the thing I was trying to do.
According to them, they feel like they can progress the technology to the point where they can recognize your handwriting solely by monitoring the different electrical paths running through your forearm, which is...
That to me seems insane.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
What it did to me seemed insane.
Yeah,
and
what it already did is
I was
crazy.
really impressed. Yeah.
So it did have a little haptic feedback. It's like the size of a smartwatch band. It would tap the back of your wrist as you did inputs. So it sort of confirmed that you were doing what you were doing. But yeah, it was literally like pinch your finger in midair behind your back, totally out of view of the glasses, and it would pick it up because it's reading the electrical inputs through your wrist. Mm-hmm. Really impressive.
Wait, so can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The information flow, I'm assuming, would go from the wristband to the puck to the glasses?
Oh, I'm so glad.
The wristband is actually also directly connected to the glasses, this time via Bluetooth.
I thought the wristband was connected to the puck via Bluetooth and the glasses were connected to the puck via Wi-Fi.
Yeah. But they have, I mean, there's a ton of custom silicon in here to make all the sensors work. There's a ton of they split up the batteries in the different parts of the arm of the band to keep it better balanced. The whole thing weighs under 100 grams.
Under
It
50
is-
grams.
No.
These are the 50 grams.
They said their standard.
99
They want to be under 50 for glasses, and but this was under 100.
Oh, was it? Or they said that these were 40.
No.
My bad.
So yeah, they're super, super cool. So here's the 3 things that they let me do with the glasses. Because you might be wondering, okay, you have this crazy tech, it does something with your input. Cool. What do you actually do with it? The software is not even done yet. It's not really a full OS, but I did 3 things. One was a sort of a regular multitasking experience, like sitting on a couch, open up a window, watch some Instagram reels, open up a browser, watched a Hot Ones episode.
Wait.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
You heard that right.
Yep.
There is an Instagram app for a device that does not exist and not the iPad.
Honestly, I love the level of petty. That's so funny.
Adam, let's talk.
We were walking to Jack in the Box, as Californians do, and we walked past. We were just walking, and I noticed on the map it said Instagram HQ, and we all looked at the building and then could see the Meta headquarters, and we're like, that is a lean building. That is a smaller building. So maybe I do believe them.
Relatively speaking, smaller than the Meta HQ. But yeah, no, these were windows floating in the air in front of me, tracked over my actual environment. So I was looking at the actual couch and the actual people around me, but then right in between them, there was a translucent browser window with a Hot Ones episode playing that I was watching. And no one could see what I was watching because it just looks like I'm wearing glasses, and there's some little glints of purple every now and then, but you really can't see or hear, unless you have the volume all the way up, what I'm actually doing.
How did it look? Did it look like a screen, or was it like a weird projection thing? Or
The thing that it reminded me, I mean, I don't think you've ever seen this, but it had sort of looked similar to the Samsung transparent micro LED displays with a much lower resolution.
I have seen those
But
at CES.
It also had a similar fraying around the edges to those spinning transparent displays. Do you know what I'm talking? Like the single band of LEDs that spin so fast and form a continuous. That is honestly the display technology that I would compare it most to visually.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was some chat from Meta about how, these are internal, so we knew we could have actually doubled the resolution at the expense of thermals, but we didn't. You could tell it was pretty low resolution. But just in general, the fact that I was moving windows around, I was multitasking, I was just with natural input sort of dragging things around, resizing windows in a very similar way, honestly, to Vision Pro. It had similar UI elements like close window X's and grab the tab at the bottom, move the window. I'll have a screen recording that I think will be in the main video as well, so you can see sort of what I saw when I was doing this. The second thing that I tried was looking at a bunch of ingredients on a table and asking Meta's AI to tell me something that I could make with them. A very contrived demo, if I'm being honest. It's a bag of dates that said dates in all caps on it. How hard could that be? But what I found interesting was it looked at all the things and then it dropped a pin, a little glowing pin on each of those things. And so I moved my head around and I looked around the room and I looked back and each of those was glowing and tracked in real time. I thought that was super cool. And then it would tell me, yeah, you can make a smoothie, which, yeah, no that's what you're supposed to do with these
it's
things.
always a smoothie or an omelet.
Yeah, you can make an omelet, trust me.
Drink omelet.
But I think that was most impressive to me because of the tracking. The dots would track over the objects, which is cool. The last thing was games, actually. They built a couple games, which is cool. One of them was a head-tracked space fighter,
3D asteroids.
3D asteroids game. It was kind of in a tunnel, so you would move your head around and actually dodge things. I'm sure you looked real dumb like this with glasses on where no one can see what you're doing, but you're playing a game. And the other was actually a multiplayer game. It kind of broke my brain. It was super low res, it was super low fidelity, but just the fact that you could do it so easily was amazing to me. 2 people with the Orion glasses on at once, both stare at a QR code in the room. That QR code becomes the placement lock for where the game appears. So that's all you have to do. Imagine, I've been talking about this with the Vision Pro, there's no shared experiences in quite the same way. You don't share the same virtual space in Vision Pro, but this is in your real physical space. There's a QR code, look at the table, you enter the shared space with that person, the game pops up, and it's Pong. And your hand is tracked to the paddle and you just play 3D Pong back and forth in this little tunnel.
I already have so many
simple.
questions.
So simple of a concept. It's low res. Like you can just break it easily by turning your head too fast. Like if your hand's not close enough, you can miss. Like you could get out of the immersion of it. But the fact that in 10 seconds you could set it up and share this invisible game that no one else in the room can see, that to me was like, oh, there's something here. This is really cool. The fact that you can do this at all. But go ahead. What questions? I have all the answers.
Okay, so 2 sets of Orion glasses, right?
Yep.
Each with their own puck or connected to the same puck?
Each with their own puck.
Each with the own puck. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. When you're playing Pong, is there like a Z axis?
Yes.
There is.
So
And
imagine like a rectangular prism between me and you, and the ball is like bouncing across in through the prism to you. And then you hit it back and it bounces across to me, and I just hit it back to you.
Can it go up like on the Y axis?
Yes.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's a pretty fun game.
Yeah.
So they're kind of explaining like the typical imagined scenarios for shared gaming. Like they brought up chess a lot, and it turns out chess isn't a great example because there's all these little pieces, and the board has to be flat, and it kind of doesn't really work that well. You kind of want it to be like vertical in front of the 2 players.
What about life-size chess?
Or even vertical chess. Like you could just flip the board vertical, I think, and
true.
it'd be easier. But like,
I think Adam's talking about Harry Potter.
Not me.
I didn't even think of that. But yes, that they just kind of made these sort of retro feeling games because the nostalgia is most universsul and just looks cool.
And fits with the resolution the best, probably.
Also, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I'm super down for any arcade style games like that in AR. That'd be sick.
Yeah. I want to play Pac-Man on that.
I think
You're running away from Pac-Man? Oh my gosh.
I think one cool thing we learned in the Pong demo, which was when Ellis went to play against Marques first, they did a really cool so there's multiple ways to interact with the glasses. The best way is with the wristband, and what it does is it has eye tracking, so that's how you're selecting things, and then you're using your hand motions to select, to bring up menus, to scroll with this cool like quarter flip. Like if you're flipping a coin on your hand, that's how you scroll. That's the gesture. But if you want, there's also is hand gestures, and the calibration needed is like you can hand off a pair of glasses to someone without doing a full calibration and still have fairly accurate controls. So like Ellis took a pair of glasses, didn't calibrate, wasn't wearing the wrist strap, and just through hand movement and the eye tracking, which comes from the side. One thing I found interesting and never thought about is eye tracking on AR glasses is so much harder because in VR, they can essentially put the camera lenses directly in front of your eyes. You can't do that when it's a clear pass through.
Yeah.
So they need to come from the side. And I thought they were pretty accurate.
One of the things we asked them was like, if the quests do all the hand tracking stuff, and there's this EMG bracelet is not a part of that. So why did you feel the need to add like a second sensor when the hand? There are more gestures, but they're not like crazy complicated gestures. And they brought up a bunch of reasons why they like having like a multimodal experience for that. But one of the things they brought up is in the final product form of this, you should just be able to take off your glasses, put them on someone else, and they should have the experience. Like you don't need to take off the wristband. You don't need to like googly eyes around. Like just you're in.
Do they mean like way down the line, or they mean the consumer version that's coming in a couple years?
No comment.
I think it's a general
I
goal. But it was the first time I ever put the smart glasses on, I did go through an eye tracking calibration. But it seemed to be not like super necessary. Like I think it would still work because it's still going to be those sensors on each side just looking at your eyeball. But I think that was just for maximum accuracy. But yeah, the idea is, you can just hand someone the glasses. They can see what you see, and you can just use your hands and just jump right in.
And the benefit of the wristband is hand tracking always needs to be in front of you, right? The wristband lets you do things like super discreetly, essentially. So you don't have to be the person. These are supposed to be things you wear in the everyday world. It's a little stranger when you're in the grocery store and all the things you have to do are touched out in front of you. You could essentially use this wristband in your pocket if you wanted to, and it would still trigger the different controls.
Yeah. It's fun.
That would look so much weirder with your
Okay,
hands
yeah,
in your
that's
pockets in the grocery store. It's like
I'm just trying to say it's
But it's true. I actually walked out of the room and we had lunch, and the entire time I had the wristband on and totally forgot. And then I walked back in and they were like, we have to put the band back on you. I was like, I've had it on this whole time.
we should explain that. It's like a slightly thicker whoop band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait, so what's to stop them from using that wristband with these Meta Ray-Ban glasses?
I think in general, this wristband, this input device has the most applicable use for them. I think that this is, I mean, there is no visual component to these, so you're not really controlling anything. But I think in general, they imagine a variety of form factors in the future that the wristband could be useful for.
Interesting.
The Orion being one of them, maybe something with like a small heads-up display in the future, kind of like Google Glass, but more natural looking, could also exist. And this wristband could control any of them. So I thought it was really cool. And yeah, that mind-blowing fact, Ellis, of like, theoretically, we can read the electrical impulses through your wrist so accurately that you could just write, not even holding a pen, just write in midair and we can pick up what you're writing. That's
pretty cool.
Like science fiction to me.
They also said the same works with typing, which
You need both hands.
Yeah, and also people type differently, I'm realizing. So
That'd be hard.
that would,
I want to try that so bad. All of these things were theoretical things. They didn't even mention if they were or weren't working on that, but it was just like, this is the type of technology and how much room for potential there is for it. And if I'm being honest, like seeing how well it worked with just a few basic functions was really impressive.
Yeah.
That's like one step away from mind reading. Because
I mean,
it's just
we're
reading nerve impulse.
We're
called a
5 steps away
neural
from
input device.
Wally.
Like
Yeah.
if you just put that same technology on the temples, by the way, I Googled it. It's temples or arms for the thing on the glasses that goes over your ear.
Oh.
But if you put that same like sensor technology just on those temples, you don't even need to move your hands.
I thought he meant insert
don't
it into your
know.
temple.
like, so it reads your brain.
It's reading the neural impulse, like the electrical signals.
So
is
that's
it
the
not?
difference. There's different paths that the electrical signals take. I think what we picture like Neuralink is like literally like reading brain activity, and that's one thing. But I think the tendons are like
That'd be my guess.
skin deep. They're like basically right underneath your skin.
And you have one per finger.
Yeah, it's like piano strings in your arm, where like if you use different fingers, it's a very distinct pattern of things that are happening with the muscles in your wrist. So I think that's why it made the most sense. Like, okay, if I have a gesture like this, that really that looks the same every time to the input device, I think.
Can we talk about materials for a little bit?
Oh yeah.
They were really stoked on the material sciences advances they made in this. And I'll be real, don't know a lot about material science. But one thing I thought was really interesting that they brought up was that, we got 2 eyes. Surprise, surprise.
Some of us.
Very true. Most of us have 2 eyes, and we combine those images to get, stereoscopic vision. And on a VR headset, that's less of a big deal because you could make it a little heavier. You could make it this big solid thing, and it's very easy to keep both lenses fixed in like the exact same position on your eyes. Glasses, on the other hand, are much thinner. You can't put steel plates in them. They will flex a little bit. And the problem is that when you have these waveguides in front of your eyes, if the glasses flex even a little bit, you begin to see double. Your brain can't merge the images anymore. And so they were very stoked on the magnesium frame that they built for these, because do you remember, it was 5 microns, like that
The margin for error between the two sides, it was something incredibly small, like a few microns.
Yeah.
Where if you did torque them heavily, they wouldn't work very well. So they had to get that rigid, like super rigid.
And then they were also very excited to be like, magnesium, it's really hard to make glossy, so they're actually naturally matte black.
Also, thermally, they needed to do it, I believe.
Yeah.
They said, like, because they had this version that was a clear plastic, so you could see inside it, and they were like, thermally, the battery life would be like half on this one than the other one because of heat dissipation.
The magnesium frame was part structural, part heat sink because of its thermal properties.
Yeah.
So interesting there.
I learned a new word during that briefing. Arc minutes. Thank you for explaining.
It's a radial measurement, I believe.
It's a 60th of a degree.
Okay.
It's very funny because Ellis was like, how specific does it have to be? Like 1/100th of a millimeter? And he was like 5 arc minutes, and all of us were like, what?
Well, and then he was like, when you reverse the trigonometry to the tangent, that equates to about 5 microns. And then I was like,
I was gonna say, like, I'm pretty sure you have heard that before because that's like trig stuff, but you just forgot it because it's useless unless you're working on AR glasses.
Hilariously, I barely showed up to trigonometry class, and then kicked calculus's ass. But
Nice.
trigonometry wasn't that much into that one.
Arc minutes is one of those things that you'll remember for like 2 months for the test, and then after the test, you will never need that
Yeah,
information
right.
again unless you work for Meta. So yeah, I think that was super cool. I think the silicon carbide waveguides is the other part of the equation. It kind of brings me to the last major point about these glasses, which is kind of what you started with, which is, okay, they're not ready yet. They are not ready for regular customers yet. And that comes in the form of, one, the silicon carbide. There is no supply chain for this. There is no optimization process.
That
It's
makes
an
sense.
extremely conductive, extremely clear when pure, but very difficult to grow substance. Just like all of what they're doing with it is, in order to get this wider field of view, you need it to be super, super pure and clear. And glass doesn't quite, in its current stage, get that good.
I think it was less of that glass doesn't get clear enough. It's that glass in the refraction element of it can take in light and create like prism rainbows, and then that affects
Yeah.
what you're seeing.
Because you're bending the light
Yeah.
so much through this stuff. Anyway, the cost of these lenses is insane. And I think the total cost, Boz told me, would be somewhere in the $20,000 to $25,000 range. Because these are such low volume, it's not a shock that it's expensive. But like, we're not trying to sell people $25,000 AR glasses right now. That's the first thing. The second thing is 2-hour-ish battery life, roughly. And we could see it and feel it run down. It was getting warm on our faces. The puck in our back pocket was like slowly getting warmer. But in general, like, that's another thing. It's not ready for the public with a 2 or 3 hour battery life. And so all these things combined made it make perfect sense that, okay, they're not going to ship this to people, but they still want something out of the level of R&D that they got to get to this point. So they've packaged it in this really cool way. They'll make some number of them, maybe a few hundred or a few thousand, and they will use it to work on it, iterate it, and keep it up for the next few generations. I think they're years away from this actually being done, but it is amazing to see that it's possible to get this close to the dream.
Yeah, I think like if I had to have my wish list, and this is being like super picky wish list of this being a good consumer, a really good consumer product,
Yep.
it needs to be thinner, both on the temples and the actual glass, the
Thinner and
frames themselves.
lighter as well.
Thinner and lighter.
Yeah.
Battery life definitely needs to be more. Boz did a great job of explaining this. He doesn't see on this replacing a phone, but rather being another accompanying a phone. But I think that would mean it has to do a good job of the majority of the time you're outside to be active. So 2-hour battery life is way too low. My super nitpicky, the 70-degree field of view was like really good, but if you placed a window and then kind of moved your head, you would see it cut out, and that just kind of breaks immersion.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it probably would be fine with 70-degree field of view.
The vertical field of view was annoying for me.
I didn't seem to hit that.
When I was playing Pong, I felt like I could never see the top of
The whole thing, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Pong was the most vertically stretched thing that we did.
Yeah.
I think when I had 3 windows side by side, that's when I got to the left and right edges of the field of view and it would get cut off. But yeah, I think those are all on my wish list as well. Higher resolution is the other thing.
Last, yeah.
Just because fidelity is everything in my world, and I would love to see it in crisp 4K if I could. And yeah, I think in general, just thinner and lighter.
I think Boz, when you interviewed him, said he would like the price to be equal to a phone. And I think that's totally reasonable. If not, I think it could be higher.
Yeah, the question when we think of all of these things being better is how much better? Higher resolution, how much higher? Double?
Yeah.
Triple? Maybe. Thinner and lighter? Okay, how much thinner and lighter? Because we are packing everything into these glasses
Can I see
today.
those frames?
To get to like 100 grams. How much thinner and lighter? And then to your point, like how much more field of view? How much cheaper do we really want them to be? Those are all questions that they have to answer as a company. Those are all trade-offs that they'll have to make to try to engineer their way down into maybe something that could ship someday.
These sound cool to me, but it also seems to me like this was a big recruitment demo. They're like, look at this cool stuff we're working on. Come help us build the future.
Yeah.
Because they're not selling these.
Yeah, one line that stuck out to me that I think actually has a lot of weight behind it that they kind of just skimmed by, but they said, everybody starts off wanting to make glasses and then ends up just making a headset just because it's like the physics, it's just impossible. You just make a headset. And so you see all these headsets out there, and you can see every company's ambition to someday either shrink the headset down or like get to this AR glasses thing. But the fact that they actually have made it, and
It's a
maybe
thing
it's
that
not,
exists.
yeah, maybe it's maybe not something you can buy, but it's a thing that exists, is already a pretty monumental step, I think, which is pretty cool that we're witnessing. So, yeah, I think stay tuned for the full video, which goes over all our thoughts, the hands-on. You can see what I saw when I was demoing them, all of that footage. Hopefully,
You're gonna see how many times I lost in Pong.
hopefully as many points as possible of Pong of me winning. But
The
yeah,
whole time we're playing, like every time one of us would do like a sick point, would be like, Mariah, use that one. Mariah, use that one.
yeah, I did play Boz, and he smoked me in Pong. Obviously, he's got
He
a
did not smoke you. Those
he's
are
got an
close
advantage.
games.
He has he's played it way more than I
Yes.
have. But it is actually pretty fun.
Nice.
So
My final thoughts. Meta Ray-Ban clear glasses are the best clear tech product I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, I want them so bad.
I am in love with these. They're
Carl
so
Pei
good.
somewhere is like furiously working on
Yeah,
glasses.
well, Carl Pei, step it up.
I also feel the need to say, as someone who's done a lot of clowning on these spectacles, there were many times when I was in Meta HQ where I would see an employee and I'd be like, oh, cool, Ray-Bans. And then I'd be like, those have camera. What? like I got fooled multiple times by these. So I think I may have to eat my words.
I think that's the reason why I like have the extra like critique of those glasses need to be smaller, is because these are proving to be really like impressive and mistaken as glasses, which is the end goal.
Yeah.
Possibly the funniest moment of me working here was coming down to the hotel lobby and seeing Marquez wearing these, and I'd never seen him wear glasses before, and it was just like,
Marquez got LASIK so he can wear tech glasses
If
later.
Marquez goes, what are you laughing at?
if you rewind far back enough on the YouTube channel's history, you will find videos of me wearing glasses.
It's
Only
a-
for like a month.
The very first video I ever made, I took them off 10 seconds into the video. So
Really?
yeah, it's pretty.
continuity.
It's very glary when there's a screen in front of you. Anyway, we got a lot more from that video. Check it out. Get subscribed. Make sure you watch out for that. But we got a little more to talk about, including the Tesla Robotaxi event. So in any case, we should get to trivia.
Trivia.
It's so cool to be over here for this.
Yeah. Everyone except for Ellis, because Ellis knows the answer. I just dropped a picture into your doc. Could one of you describe
that.
this for me?
Wait, did you ever
at
watch
that.
Top Gear UK?
No.
Because this is actually, I'm almost positive, a trivia
the-
question they did on that.
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
Is this
during
the three-wheeler?
news segment.
Great minds.
This
I'm
is
just like a
not the
decade late.
three-wheeler.
Oh, well, this
This-
looks like a.
Yeah, describe it for
What
the
was
listener.
the what was that like one of the first Honda
Fit.
EVs?
The Moto Compacto.
No, the one that had the
Oh, the Insight.
was it the Insight? I don't
It was the Insight.
where it had like the cover over the back wheel.
Google it.
For aerodynamics.
Google it.
Yeah.
Oh. Was it not the Insight?
I think
It
it's the
was
Insight EV.
Insight. Let's
Okay.
go, baby.
I feel like this looks like the Honda Insight got stung by a bee.
But it's a two-door and it's got this little sleek
Honda Insight's a two-door.
Mercedes, huh?
This is a 2005 Mercedes-Benz concept car.
Dude,
It looks like one.
2005.
Yeah. It was inspired by an animal. What kind of animal?
And is it faster than the slow Loris? Or
How specific are we gonna get? Because I was gonna say like a.
Well,
like
don't
a-
say it.
well,
don't say it. But I will accept a very broad answer to animal.
Okay, sure. Because I was gonna give a category.
You
Sure.
can get 2 points if you give me the exact animal.
I'll give you the kingdom, phylum, genus.
You will get
order,
10 points if you
I will
me
give you
the
how
class.
many legs it had.
Genus and species. All right. We'll talk Tesla Robotaxi after the break. Be right back. All right, we back. This time we're talking Tesla Robotaxi. Now, here's the thing. Here's the fun part about this section of the podcast. The Tesla Robotaxi event is Thursday night. I'm going to go out there and point cameras at this thing and check it out. This podcast comes out Friday. So you already know by the time the podcast comes out exactly what got announced, what was shown on stage, and what actually happened. But this is being recorded on Wednesday. So right now, all of the people you're looking at and listening to have no idea what the Robotaxi is or what's going to happen.
And we're still going to nail these predictions.
And we're just going to try to figure it out in real time, just kind of guess. So I've been on the fence about, should I even go to this event? Like, what is it? What is a Robotaxi event? What is the point? Like, what's happening here? And the conclusion I've come to is, okay, it's Tesla. It's famously very ambitious with their announcements. And I would say every time I've gone to a Tesla event, it has at least been thought-provoking in some way, because their announcement isn't just a new product. It often comes with all this baggage of like, this is the category that we are defining here. I went to the Cybertruck event years ago, and it was like, this product might not ship for years, but they are kind of actively trying to redefine electric trucks. I remember going to the Model Y event and coming away thinking this could be the most important electric vehicle, period. I remember the Model 3 event as they went through that production hell and figuring out what a high volume, low cost EV actually is. And so this is another new Tesla vehicle, I believe. And then we kind of don't know anything else other than We Robot.
Exactly, which is a reference to a collection of short stories by Isaac Asimov.
It is.
Where a technology professor type person. I haven't actually read this. I just sort of know about it.
I read it.
Famous. Oh,
It's really good.
Well, explain.
Don't remember it.
It's a scientific doctor who I believe works for the government, explaining a bunch of stuff to a reporter. So I think that is kind of what they're referencing.
Oh, that's the book, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
In that process, he's saying a bunch of short stories.
Yeah.
And one of them is the robot one.
And there's also a Will Smith movie.
I was going to say,
Yeah, I thought there was
if
a Will
I've seen the Will Smith movie, does that count as knowing a little bit about this? Or
I don't think, but it was that robot?
Yeah.
Or is that
Yeah.
iRobot?
That's robot.
Robot.
Oh,
And the invitation to this event is we,
okay.
robot. So I assume
robot?
us, robots.
Which a big part of that book, I believe, is like the laws of robotics. So this will be interesting because if they're naming it after that event,
can we?
or not event, if they're naming the event after the book, I mean.
Can we kind of open this with like, Tesla has mentioned cars being autonomous taxis before.
Yes.
And so that's what my biggest wonder here. I know you put some things out that are like potential rumors of what's coming out, but before we even get to that, I think what's interesting is there have been times where Tesla has said that like you can buy your car with full self-driving, drive it when you're using it, and then when you are not using it, it can go out and like ride share people and make you money.
Make you money in the background.
But
They
that
have
is-
said this before.
And that is just your regular car, like a Model 3.
Yes.
So when I see Robotaxi event, I feel like that is either, are we just going to announce that this can happen now and it's the same car, we don't see anything new, or are we going to see a new car which kind of defeats the old purpose or one of the purposes of purchasing one of those cars?
You know, Mark Zuckerberg once said, if we don't invent the thing that kills Facebook, someone else will. So maybe this is that. Maybe they're just trying to kill their own idea.
They're
before
killing their
anyone
own
gets it to them first.
Maybe. But yeah, so I feel, I'm assuming this is going to be something more along the lines of Waymo, of like a dedicated Robotaxi. But I just find it funny that previously your Model 3 was just supposed to do this.
Yes.
Yes. I think that irony will be heavy through the entire presentation, or at least through the lenses of those who have heard those promises before. But I agree with you. I do think this will be a dedicated autonomous vehicle whose only purpose is to do what Waymo does now, which is to do ride sharing and taxi services and things like that.
Important note. At least in this great state of California.
This great state?
No,
Ellis is always in California.
Yeah, I think you said this great
am
state.
I in California right now?
We were yesterday.
I think technically we were today. No, we were in the... Anyway, that aside, technically in California, they cannot do what Waymo does because in order to operate an autonomous vehicle in the great state of California, you need specific permits to do that. Tesla has not even applied for those permits.
Why'd you put air quotes around the great state of California?
I did not. Don't you dare fool our audio listeners with that. In fact, if I could have spoken with an underline and a bold, I would have.
I wouldn't put it past them to save that for after the announcement.
Okay.
Because I think this is a very much, this is what we plan to do type of announcement, which, hey, let's be real, it's Tesla. They've done that before, where
Tesla
they announce something and then this thing doesn't actually come out or happen for many years. I'm generally, this is my prediction. This is what I think they're going to do, is they're going to roll a new vehicle on stage. And I think based on a couple of Elon tweets of him saying like, oh, we have to push it back. We need to redesign the front of it a little bit. Like it will look a little bit different from the existing model. So they're going to roll a new looking vehicle on stage. And then they're going to go, look at the inside. There's no steering wheel. You know why? Because it doesn't need one. And here's all the capabilities based on where we think our tech will be very soon. He'll be like, it's feature complete. It just needs to get approved. He'll say that. I bet he'll say that. And we'll get to this point where it could theoretically, with enough compute, like drive around, charge itself, and do all these things that it should do. There will be some layer of economic upside to it being electric and just making you money passively. Hey, you should own a fleet of these things. They'll do all of that song and dance. And then they'll end with, you can get a ride in this thing. And the only reason I think they'll do that is because when I signed my agreement, I signed a waiver to go to this event, and near the bottom of the waiver was you could go on a ride in a thing, and you will not sue us if that goes wrong.
It does seem, though, because the event is on the Warner Bros. Discovery lot.
It is. So there could be no other cars.
Well, it would be literally illegal for them to do it on public roads in California.
Which is why they won't. Yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen. And then I think they will also probably mention like, oh yeah, you can smart summon, you can use autopilot on our regular cars, and there's all sorts of other great updates coming to our regular cars, but this will be the Robotaxi where if you're in any number of these places, maybe anywhere, maybe just US, who knows, then you'll be able to, yeah.
I have a question for you.
Go for it.
Because you said something that I had not thought about in all of this, which is, how do you think they will charge themselves? Or will they be on the New Jersey model where someone has to come and plug them in? That one is for you.
There's a couple possible answers. Possible answer number one is they just hire a bunch of people, and when a Robotaxi pulls up, they just plug it in manually. Possible option number two, have you seen the old clips of the mechanical charge plug? So if you go back far enough, this is a decade plus old, there is an old video from the Tesla factory of a articulating snake-like charger that just like wakes up, finds the charge plug, and plugs itself in.
And then it whispers, you should eat this apple.
It is a strange visual, and this does not exist anywhere in the real world now, but that could be another thing that they bring back. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a good question. We don't know. Yeah.
Will the Tesla app just become Uber then?
I think they'll probably have to have another app.
A separate app entirely?
Either another app or like another section of the app where you call one.
Or they'll fold it into X and just make it the WeChat of America.
Jesus, as much as you might be joking,
That's
It would be
honestly what he wants.
cool.
do that.
What's the Tesla subscription?
I don't forgot what
It's
it's called.
called like Tesla Plus.
Isn't it just
It's to get the like
Plus?
It's like
better-
connectivity. It's for streaming. It's for like all the data that goes.
I thought it was also cheaper rates on Tesla chargers or something.
Tesla connectivity packages, premium. You get navigation, live traffic, Sentry mode, satellite maps, video streaming, karaoke, music, internet browser, and
Why did I think there was one we talked about a while ago that was changing or guaranteeing you like better prices on charging?
I think that's just if you have a Tesla and a Tesla.
Oh, or is that if you're a non-Tesla and you're using the Tesla charging network? Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if somehow the rideshare would be put into that. I do think it would be a separate app as well.
And a way better name than Tesla Plus.
Yes. Also, Waymo charges by a technician plugging it in.
Okay.
So I would assume it would be similar. If we're thinking this is like a Tesla run on the streets of whatever city, they would probably have another lot with technicians in it that would plug them in.
There's also a few really nascent technologies that I think are mostly being tested in China that involve battery swaps. where you pull onto a bay and it actually takes out the battery, puts it into a charging bay, and then replaces it with a full battery that's been charging.
That's a thing with motorcycles in other countries.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, this is also a thing that Tesla has also
Yeah,
done a
it is.
video announcement of, where they drove up a model. I don't know what model it was, but they drove up a Tesla onto some station. It did a battery swap, and they also had like a gas car filling up with gas next to it. And then I think, if I'm remembering this correctly, they had the electric car finish doing the battery swap, drive away, the crowd cheered, and then another electric car drove up and initiated another battery swap and also finished it before the tank of gas was done.
Damn.
But it was also like a 6-minute tank of gas, so I'm not even sure how to process that.
Also, apologies. I just looked it up. It is not a nascent technology. There are 11,000 of these stations for scooters in Taiwan.
For scooters, okay.
For scooters.
So, yeah, there are a whole bunch of random things from Tesla's past that they could bring back, including full self-driving, including motorized chargers, including battery swaps. I think the smart thing to do is probably just look at what Waymo already does, which is, okay, they operate in a small place. They have these lots of these things where technicians can look over them every night, and they charge and they take off every
They
morning.
beep at
And
3
they
o'clock in the
beep
morning.
Beep all night and annoy people, but at least they have a hub, and maybe that's the model. Maybe
I
that's
think
the model.
one other thing similar to Waymo, I wouldn't be surprised by here is seeing it with a bunch of extra sensors on top, similar to
So
Waymo.
this is the interesting thing.
Yes.
Tesla famously doesn't like that at all.
Well,
They don't like sensors
okay.
at all.
And that's like, if you watch their AI day, if you watch any like of the last couple of years of Tesla's presentations, they're like, not only do we try to do cameras for as much as possible, we've literally gotten rid of other perfectly useful sensors in the cars.
Exactly.
No more ultrasonic sensors for parking. Everything is visual.
There's a hilarious Tesla press release that I think I linked somewhere in the script where they're like, we've gotten rid of ultrasonic sensors. We're only doing what they call Tesla vision, which is like computer vision. And this is better. They're like, this is so much better. It's better in testing. That being said, because we've disabled it, you won't have summon or smart summon, or it might be like very, very limited now.
Yeah.
So it is better. You just can't do the stuff you paid for with.
I would not be surprised if they were like, we needed to do this for these taxis, or just kind of forget that they said that and never reference it at all, and see a
think they're-
swarm of sensors on top of a
Waymo
Tesla.
and Cruise both use these. Both use
Yeah.
specifically LiDAR. And also, when these things were getting phased out in 2021, 2022, the LiDAR manufacturing ecosystem was very different. Now there's hundreds, if not several hundred suppliers of LiDAR. It's something that's a lot cheaper to implement now.
I think that the Tesla believers' argument, or devil's advocate, would be that the ceiling is higher for vision based on AI. So they view LiDAR and ultrasonic as a crutch. And if you drive around with, combining all the sensor data, which kind of is just noise to the visual systems, then that might work better in the short term. Actually, it does work better in the short term. But in the future, you can do more and do better with just compute trained better and better. I mean, AI has been getting amazing lately. If the first generation is the Rabbit R1, think of like the 10th generation. Maybe that could drive itself. I think that's the argument, is the ceiling is higher for just vision. That is TBD.
Elon in the past has described LiDAR as a crutch for EVs. Like you're going to rely on the sensor and not, but having just been to Meta and then saying like having a multimodal sensor experience using these two different kind of sensors to error correct each other, they seem to feel really confident in that. And obviously AR glasses and
Exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly the same. No differences, no notes. But yeah, so that's another thing I'm really curious about, is if they're going to double back on this and be like, look, it's cheaper now. Our AI is good enough to do like a real multimodal system where we can factor these things in equally without relying on LiDAR as a crutch.
I think if they do put LiDAR in, they just pull the Apple move of like, we never said it was bad. Look at how good this thing is now.
They'll have some
And
excuse.
ignore it completely.
I think the most famous example for me has been like, I went from a Model S that did have ultrasonic to not using it, and it just got way worse in the rain. Way worse in the rain. Autopilot in the rain with ultrasonic sensors that can see straight through the rain was fine. Visual, relying on cameras, pouring rain, can't see the road as well.
Do you have summon/smart summon in any of your Tesla Vision only?
No.
No. Okay.
Now, I only currently have a Cybertruck. I don't have my Model S anymore. I believe that the Model S that is shipping now does not have any of these features.
Right, because I said that, and I am quoting directly from a press release, but as soon as I said that, I was like, someone with a Tesla is going to be like, well, I have those features.
They may have updated to include some of them now, but again, the truth is that they had to remove them at first while they worked on it.
And I'm reading directly from Tesla's website, so you can't be mad.
Yeah.
They can.
The Wild Robot is a good movie.
Okay, last question I have for you guys is, what do you think the price of something like this is? Is that even a question? Did they even say this on stage?
For
A price tag for a Robotaxi?
I think it's just, I'm assuming it's just going to be a direct Waymo competitor where it's not a price for the car, it's a price for the ride share
service.
aspect of it.
Fair.
Guys, I just went down a really dark rabbit hole because you guys mentioned earlier, like having a fleet of these things for your business as like an enterprise.
Yeah.
Good idea. I really think it's a good idea. There's also rumors that they're going to talk about Optimus at this event. Optimus is what they call their bipedal robot.
Prime.
What happens when you use the same app to get a fleet of Optimuses?
Well, Optimus is not anywhere near shipping, contrary to what some executives have said.
But the idea of commanding a fleet of humanoid robots for the right price is
That's some serious iRobot stuff right there.
yeah,
I'm referring to a Will Smith movie this time.
okay. I haven't seen that movie,
Oh.
but I'm taking your word for it.
If you Google iRobot right now, you will see what looks like a fleet of humanoid robots. That's how there's no other way to describe the scenes from that movie other than a fleet of humanoid
You should
robots.
really watch that movie. It's really good.
It's pretty great. It's a great
I'll add
movie.
it to my list.
It's
Yes.
fun. It's right up my alley.
Yep, this is it. Yep, Mark. Yep, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow, when you're right, you're right.
Yeah. So the things that came to mind for me were like the Tesla semi truck. I don't even remember if they announced a price for it, but they definitely had a big talk about like cost of operation per mile. And of course, if you're just speaking to people who are going to get a fleet of these, that's music to their ears. They just want to hear, I will save money over the current fleet that I use. Maybe it'll be like that. Maybe they don't get a price. Maybe we do have a price. Maybe it's like, hey, if you want to buy 6 of these and operate them in a little corner of your town and a little franchise, a little Robotaxi business, maybe that's a thing. I don't know.
Oh, so you think they'll sell them to like taxi dispatchers?
That's what I imagine. I mean, they keep using the word Robotaxi, so maybe.
I think we're just going to see testing in select cities as a rideshare.
That would be the safe thing to do.
It's okay. You convinced
it's
me.
Tesla.
That's not what they're doing. Yeah, that's
Tesla this time.
Well, I feel like that's definitely what they're going to do for like the foreseeable future. But like they definitely have like a 5-10 year plan for what they want this to be.
They
I'm
definitely want it
curious.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Because that would be if they're intellectually consistent through the past couple years of what they've been trying to do, then the benefit of being a vision is that it can be anywhere. It doesn't have to be in pre-mapped cities. It doesn't have to be in select locations. Full self-driving works on any street in any place. So that's if they want to be consistent with that, then this could launch anywhere at any time.
there are laws.
Wow, that was good.
Whoa.
I did not
Sounded
press the button.
exactly like the sound button right there, which is probably a great place to end it. That
Yes.
is
Before we end, we do owe someone a thank you because a lot of these predictions were informed by some really great reporting by Dana Hull, Kara Carlson, and Edward Ludlow at Bloomberg. So thank you guys for your diligent work.
Shout out to Bloomberg. Shout out to me reading the fine print in the invitation. Give me a little insight as well.
Yeah.
Shout out to reading Elon's posts on Twitter. It's really painful, but I made it through. Got some insight there. Yeah, that's it. Obviously, there's a lot more coming up. There's this event. There's maybe an M4 Mac event coming up soon, as far as we know. There's maybe some other exciting future announcements and videos. So just stay tuned for it all. It's all going to be on Waveform, baby. That's why we're here.
We're ending the year hot.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think,
I think it's cold usually. But
well, speaking of cold, I'm going to try to end my cold streak in trivia.
you got a point last time, no?
Yeah, you got a point. Yep. Last
Oh, I
week.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, well, this would really end this would be like a hot streak then. Starting a hot streak.
Ellis, do
Sorry.
you want to read your question?
Yeah, you mind if I do it from over here?
Yeah,
God, this is so cool.
I know. I get to like look at you in your face.
Well, we do that enough anyway.
Well, I have to like turn this way, which is a little annoying.
You guys, last week or 2 weeks ago, maybe, Mark has admitted to us that he is quite the aficionado
be embarrassing
of knowing
if
Oh.
animal top speeds. You know, well, when you said that, I assumed you meant like the really fast ones, right? So I did try to throw you a little curveball here.
Oh, you did? No, I have to think about
If
this.
listeners are confused, by the way, that episode comes out on October 28th. Be ready.
Wait. Oh,
They haven't heard that one yet,
right.
but they'll get it later.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is so funny. Question number 1, guys. What animal has a faster top speed? The leopard tortoise or the slow loris?
I've never even heard of a loris.
It's a lemur, I think.
Huh.
Could be wrong.
It is unfortunately like one of, maybe not one of the most, but it's a extremely popular illegal pet that is generally like really terrible how they take them out of their natural habitats.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Is that like a
Because they're pretty adorable.
sugar glider kind of
Probably, yeah.
Oh,
All right. Flip
I
them and
did-
read. What do you got?
All right. We pick separate things.
okay.
Marquez, what did you put?
I wrote the slow loris.
And that is correct. That is the faster animal.
And if you can see this little diagram I drew down here, this doesn't make any sense, so I'll explain it. I believe that the leopard tortoise is named for the way that the shell looks, not how fast it is. I think that's why it's called the leopard tortoise.
Yes, the slow loris, I could not find a world record top speed for, but it was averaging about 1.2 miles per hour.
Okay.
The leopard tortoise, I did find a world record recorded speed for in Guinness. That was 0.6 miles per hour.
You give that some of Miles's pre-workout and some smelling salts.
Get that
and
out
I think
there.
we're pushing 1.7.
And Marquez was correct, by the way. It's because of the pattern on its shell or
There you go.
carapace.
Kill
I
it.
think I was thinking of those turtles that run really fast sometimes, not a tortoise. Have you ever seen that one that's like on the sidewalk and the guy walks up to it and
yeah.
it just darts
Blitzes.
back into the
I
water?
haven't seen that, but I have seen that awesome video of the guy who gave his pet turtle a tech deck skateboard.
Oh,
He like puts under his belly, and the confidence this
Oh, and it
turtle
just,
has now that it can
like,
move really
swims,
fast.
yeah.
It's like dogging this cat. Like
I need to watch that.
it's pretty cute. Question 2, Adam.
All right. Quick update on the score. Marquez now with 19.
Yo, let's go. Turn this franchise around.
Andrew and David both tied with 22. David, by the way, did we mention he's not in this week because he's watching the robot movie over and over?
Yeah,
Wild
we
robot.
listened to you guys. You really you really lit us up for that one. So we told him to go home. We told him to
Think
turn
about
on
what
his
he's
TV.
done.
We told him to go back to the movie theater and just watch that movie over and over and over again until he agrees with you. So
That'll be the first hour of next week is him talking about what he learned from that.
Yeah.
yeah, and apologizing
Yeah.
profusely.
Next question. So, the 2005 Mercedes-Benz Bionic concept car was inspired by what animal? You will get 1 point for the kind of animal, and you will get another point for the actual animal, like the God-given name.
God.
If I say the specific name of it, and that's wrong, but it is in the same category of animal,
Hey, you still get
do
a
I get
point.
there? Okay.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
the point.
So
All right,
for the
flip him and read. What do you got?
Huh.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's a good one.
So we both wrote something in the water.
Marine animals.
What did you write?
I wrote an orca
Orca.
I could see that though.
and not a whale.
Orcas are whales.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's also not a whale.
Oh, no, it's not
Okay.
a whale.
Oh.
No, yeah.
Well, I wrote a fish, but
It is a fish.
I'm glad
Oh.
it's a fish because it kind of looks like a fish. I vacillated between different fish. I ended up landing on a stingray,
Nope, it's a boxfish.
a boxfish.
Yeah.
What is a boxfish?
Oh, I see it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it kind of tracks. That's weird that like why that fish? It's not like a particularly aerodynamic fish.
Maybe it is though.
Hydrodynamic.
Hydrodynamic.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Shout out to
see it.
the Mercedes boxfish car.
Yeah. Wait, what's it called again?
The Bionic.
The Bionic.
It's just a concept car, so it probably, well, it definitely was never made.
Yeah, it never
but,
came out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad I got
20
one
points?
One of the points. I have 19.
Up to
Well,
No, you have 20 now.
You're
Yeah.
at 20
fish,
now.
I got it.
Yep.
Oh, sick. Okay, I'll take that. Oh, that's huge. That is amazing.
With a come from behind.
Okay, don't call it a comeback. Well, hey, like I said, it's busy time. It's Techtober. Lots more coming up. Lots more events, lots more videos. Get subscribed if you haven't already. David will be back in that chair. Ellis will
Maybe,
be-
as long as he thinks about what he did.
Yeah.
So many of you guys think David and I are the same person.
David,
Yes.
How? You're constantly in two different chairs.
You like Wild Robot.
That I haven't seen one.
I do it. I want to see it so bad.
Yeah,
now.
me too.
It looks awesome.
Well, next week, David will have seen many more times, and Ellis will be back in that chair. And also, we will know what happened at the Robotaxi event. So stay tuned. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.
Waveform it brought to you by
Adam.
Fox.
Damn.
You do it.
Waveform was produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Robin. We're part of the Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro-outro music is made by Vane.
So. All right, one last story before we start. Adam, when we got to the airport, Marquez hadn't had lunch, so we went to Wendy's, and Ellis, Brandon, and I are standing in line. Marquez sits down and eats his food, and Ellis was watching him and said, like, in perfect harmony with the boarding, he essentially finishes his last bite, stands up, in one motion throws it, like crumples up his wrappers, throws it out, walks to where the boarding was.
It was literally like I watched the nugget hit his tongue, and as soon as it touches, they go, "All right, we're going to begin boarding for this flight to San Francisco." Marquez gets up, trash, doesn't miss a step, walks straight to the gate and on. And I was just like, "This bro is so optimized, it's f***ing crazy."
Not one wasted fry.